Hi, I'm Kenton, and this is Kenton Knows. Before we start this video, let's first see where to find the model number for your oven. And here it is. In this video, we're going to be repairing a Frigidaire oven. So the first thing I do before attempting to repair a gas oven is I verify that the gas is on, and I do that by checking the burners. So you can see the gas is on to this appliance. Next, we need to remove the racks. And then I like to turn on the inside light to give myself a light while working. And then we loosen the bolts in the back. At the end of the video, I'll also point out the oven temperature sensor, which may be an issue if your oven isn't heating to the right temperatures or you're having some other issues that go beyond what we talked about in this video. And then I turn them by hand once they're loose. Then we can remove the bottom plate of the oven. This is what it looks like after the plate is removed. You can see the igniter is just below this cover, so we need to remove it. In order to remove it, you may need to use a crescent wrench to loosen the nut. And once it's loose, you can take that off. Now you can see there's the igniter. With the igniter exposed, I like to turn the oven on. So you hit bake and increase the temperature. Then we'll see if the igniter comes on. Sometimes it may come on but not come on strong enough, or in this case, you can see it doesn't come on at all. So the next step is to remove the igniter. There are two screws that hold the igniter to the oven. Once removed, you can see the igniter is attached by two wires. Next, we'll cut these two wires. You can test it with a voltmeter, but for me, at this point, if I've already taken it out, I might as well just replace it. The cost of the igniter is fairly minimal, and I really don't want to come back if it's nearing the end of its life anyways. You can see this igniter is a little discolored, but it's not broken. And sometimes I have seen them where they're completely shattered, and other times like this, it might just not work, or it may glow, but it might not be strong enough for the gas to come out. And then you'll need to strip the ends of the wires. Here's the igniter. Now be sure you don't touch the actual element, as your oil or dirt from your fingers could damage it or cause it to prematurely burn out. And you can get these on Amazon for $20. So that's why I just replace them anytime I'm working on it. Again, you can test these, but I don't even bother. I just put a new one in for $20. It's not worth the time and effort of saying it works and then having it fail at some point in the future. So I just put a new one on. And the wire nuts they give you are these little white plastic ones with no metal on the inside. So I usually use my own with little metal inside so that when I put them on, the wire actually stays. I feel those white ones just come off all the time, so I prefer to use one that has a little metal on the inside. Next, you'll need to get those two screws and attach the igniter back to that metal arm. Now you do want to make sure it's secure so that when the gas goes on, it will light. Now we'll test it. So we turn bake on and then up the temperature a little bit and see if it glows. Now this one unfortunately is not glowing, which means that we have a bad control board. So that's what we're going to do next. So we'll turn it off. And then we'll pull out the range and we need to take off this cover on the top. But first I will unplug it. So that just comes right off. I put it on the front and this is what you'll see. This is the back of the control board and you'll just need to remove that cable. Here's the new one. So then we'll remove the old one. There's just 4 screws there. And now you'll see that there is a cover that the new one didn't have. So we're going to have to remove the cover. And there's usually enough adhesive when you take it off that you can just take it off and then put it right on the next one. And there we go with the old cover on the new control board. And then we'll put it back in place. So once you got it screwed in, just put that cable back on and then plug it back in again. Then you can test it or put the cover back on first, which is what I did, and then put it back in place. And now we'll test it, but you'll have to hit clock first to get it to stop blinking, and then hit bake and increase the temperature. And then take a look on the inside and let's see if it glows. It will take a second or two here. And you can see it's starting to glow. And as it gets all the way hot, you can see it release the gas and the burner ignites. Once it ignites, it's obviously working, so you need to cancel it. And then you should wait a few seconds or maybe a couple minutes till it gets a little cool so you don't burn yourself when you start putting it back together. And you put everything back in the reverse order that we took it apart. And I think these bolts to hold it in can just be hand tightened. There's no real need to tighten it with a screwdriver, but obviously you can if you'd like. And the other thing I'll mention is this is your temperature sensor, and if that gets dirty, you may need to clean it. Especially if your oven isn't responding or the temperature seems to be off. It could be due to that being damaged or just dirty. So you might want to clean it and then you can put it all back together.